as well as gentlemen, Papa Boris is back for some more Hearthstone Arena action. We're in the middle of a run here with the Mage. The first two games were pretty solid. The deck is pretty solid. I love making predictions because most of the time they're wrong, but I do think this deck can make it up to at least 7 wins, so we'll see how we can go here in our third game. I tried recording this once and the game crashed. Looks, however, like this time we're actually going to get a worthy opponent. That is awesome. Huffy Hunter? I don't think I've seen that one before. That is nice. True as Shime. True as Heim. How true are you? As Heim. Alright, well, we got a pile of 4-drops here. Let's think very carefully. We'll keep this engine. We'll send back the Cult Master and the Panda, or in the Panda, yeah. We'll keep the Owl, though. The reason I'm keeping the Owl is because I'm up against a Priest. There's a decent number of things here that will want to be silenced, such as Light Wells, Light Spawns, maybe even the Northshire Cleric. And what's the other thing? Light Well, Light Spawn. Yeah, I guess those are the biggest one, the Light Well especially. Do I want to coin out Sorcerer's Apprentice? What am I doing on the next turn? Nothing. Yeah, we'll just call it a day here, I think. If the Priest had played Northshire Cleric on turn 1, I would have coined out the Sorcerer's Apprentice to try to kill it. But in the absence of that pressure, we'll try to save the coin. Interesting choice by my opponent here, playing a Bluegill Warrior. So had I coined out the Apprentice, it would have just died. Instead, yeah, I guess I'll just kill this thing for free. That might have been like a tempo move by my opponent, because, you know, he did stop me from playing a creature, but the creature was going to die anyway. So either I play the creature and it dies, or I hero ability and it dies. Okay, well, that is a little bit unfortunate for me here, because this thing will kill anything I can play, and I don't see any particular reason to do that. So what we'll do here is just coin out the Senjin. So my opponent can, of course, play Shadow Word Pain and kill this engine, but that would be half of his mana for the turn. If he pops the Divine Shield, then I'll be able to hopefully finish this thing off. Ah, my opponent's got a Taunter of his own. This player is playing awfully strangely, I have to say, because, I mean, my Mage's hero ability can just kill the Scarlet Crusader. So I don't know what my opponent's got going on here. This is very odd. Well, yeah, I'll rise to the bait, I guess. I'll do that. Now, one option here is to silence this thing so I can attack for 3 damage. Another option is to play Frostbolt and then finish it off. Unfortunately, I cannot play Sorcerer's Apprentice and Frostbolt. I would be 1 mana short of that. Or I could just play the Sorcerer's Apprentice, let this thing kill that thing. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll, oh, wait a minute, hang on. If I play Sorcerer's Apprentice, there's a chance my opponent will play Holy Nova. That would suck. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do this. So this isn't, I mean, this is technically a 2-for-1, but this guy did pop the Scarlet Crusader's Divine Shield, so card-wise I'm actually doing fine. Notice my opponent has 5 to my 6, so basically I still have the extra card I got for being the second player. And what my opponent did with those weird plays, letting me kill his stuff easily, was kind of like make it so that nothing happened in the opening. At 5 mana, he's got nothing except for a 3-drop, which is good news for me, I suppose. Do I play the Panda now, or the Water Elemental? Well, 5 plus 4 is 9, 3 plus 6 is 9. They both have the same total stats. I'm not feeling that much pressure to play the Panda. So we'll play the Water Elemental here. It holds up very nicely against the Ghoul. And it dies to a Shadow Word Pain, but I think if my opponent had it, he would have played that earlier, so I'm just guessing he doesn't have the Shadow Word Pain. So it's going to be a little bit tricky for him without a taunt to protect this Ghoul. And in a couple of turns, this guy's going to be a menace. So I guess I'm happy, given the cards I have, with the way that this game has been just doing absolutely nothing. Argent Commander is a good card. He's going to pop the Divine Shield and then just trade the Ghoul for the Elemental. That's fine. So basically, at the end of it, what that means is there's a 4-3 on the board. I mean, that'll even die to my Sorcerer's Apprentice. Let's think. If I play a Ghoul, it's going to die, and the Argent Commander won't quite die alongside it. But if I play both Ghouls, he could kill one, the other one would get buffed. I could use the... Oh, no! I was thinking I could use the hero ability to finish it off, but I have to remember my opponent is a priest. God. So if I play both Flesh-Eating Ghouls, what my opponent will do is run the commander into one of them, go down to 1 health, heal back up to 3. Then I have to trade the other Flesh-Eating Ghoul, so I'm just 2-for-1ing for absolutely no reason. Okay, so what we're going to do here then is we're just going to play the Panda first, and then the Sorcerer's Apprentice. So my opponent can trade this Argent Commander for either one of these drops, but this is a 6-mana creature. He's trading for a 4 or a 2-mana creature, so I'm kind of okay with that. It seems fine to me. I don't really want to polymorph this. I have a suspicion that there will be better targets to polymorph later on. What an odd game. There's just been, like, nothing happening, and my opponent's making, like, it seems like he's not making good plays, but then again, I'm not establishing an overwhelming position on the board either. Well, if my opponent has no removal, I think what he should do is just kill my panda. This is the stronger creature. He certainly doesn't want my dinky little 3/2 killing off his 4/3. That would be awfully silly, I think. If he plays one huge thing, a polymorph would be great. It's if he plays a lot of little stuff right now that I might actually be in trouble. Stormpike Commando is a very good answer against my Sorcerer's Apprentice. I don't have a good answer back at this, unfortunately. Pretty much all I can do is try to trade a Flesh-Eating Ghoul for it. I cannot work it down over 2 turns because my opponent is a priest and he'll be able to heal. What a strange game. Crazed Alchemist. What? Okay. I guess you could do that? I don't know why that would make a difference. Okay. Well, I could play this guy. He's stealthy, so my opponent can't deal with him or mind control him. Or I could play this pair of ghouls. Or I could play the Frost Elemental. Well, the Frost Elemental seems silly because the Ravenholt Assassin is bigger and the extra mana I would save isn't really doing anything for me. So I'd play the Ravenholt Assassin or the 2 ghouls. Now the ghouls do both actually hold up nicely against these creatures that my opponent has. Yeah, let's do this. This puts more onto the board. So we'll do that. It also doesn't give my opponent a good mind control target. This also didn't because it's stealthy, but I like getting more stuff onto the board. And these guys survive against Holy Nova, so it should be fine. Plus, the 2/3 does kind of own the 2/2 that he has on the board currently. What a bizarre game. I don't know why this game is so strange, but it's very strange. I think it's strange because I feel like I should be winning because my opponent seems not to have been making good plays, but it's just kind of been working out for him. So, good on him, I guess. We both have 2 creatures on the board, and we both have 4 cards. My creatures are slightly better than his, but he is first to play. So he has the advantage by virtue of having the initiative. Let's take a sip of Good Luck Jones cream soda here. Looks like he's gearing up for a Holy Nova. Can't imagine any other reason why he would do that particular sequence of exchanges. So there's the Holy Nova. Well, all things considered, that's okay, I think. He doesn't seem to have anything else to do. So, well, the Raging Worgen would be kind of silly to play here, I think. I mean, it does kind of threaten to run into this and whatever, but then I'd have an awkward 5 mana left. You can see that doesn't really do much for me. So we'll take this opportunity, I think, to play the Ravenholt Assassin. I could have played the Frost Elemental, but I don't care that much about freezing this. And with the 2 mana that I had, all I could do is ping my opponent, which is likely to be irrelevant. So we'll just put this stealthy dude down. If my opponent has a really big thing, I can polymorph it. And if he plays something else, I can you know, freeze it and stuff. Alright, so does he have any spells to go for this freshly dropped Violet Teacher? No? Okay. Well. What I'd like to do is play the Frost Elemental, freeze this, Frostbolt this, and Hero Ability that to finish it off. That would unfortunately cost 10 mana, which is next turn. So alas, I cannot do this. I think what I'll do is kill the Violet Teacher, play the Frost Elemental, and I'm going to play the Raging Worgen now. So this holds up pretty nicely against the Priest's Mass Removal. A Holy Nova would kill the Assassin, but it would enrage the Worgen without killing him. And this guy, unfortunately, for my opponent, is frozen right now. Mind Control, he could steal one of my 2 big guys, but basically then I could just kill them off right away with the other one, or even with the Polymorph. So all Mind Control would really do is just spend his entire turn, basically, to get a little bit of card advantage. But I still have the board advantage, so I wouldn't really mind that. Ah, it's gonna have a Vengeful Mercenary. There's a Shadow Word Pain that I've been waiting for all game. That is amusing. And there's a Cult Master. Well, let's think about this. So, one obvious solution, of course, is just to polymorph this guy. Pick off the sheep, and call it a day. Another option, what would happen if I silenced this? I guess it would become a 4-2, and then a Frostbolt would kill it, which is an interesting possibility as well. Or I could just kill it with the Frost Elemental. I could play Cult Master, run this guy into the Ventrico Mercenary, they would trade, and then I'd draw a card, and then I could kill his guy. I'd be a 5-3, which is fine, it survives Holy Nova. I could also run the Frost Elemental in, get a card, use the hero ability to finish this off, have a 7-2. Well, the 7-2 is more fragile, it would die. Yeah, for some reason my instincts tell me... Well, I could also actually Frostbolt this thing. My opponent could still heal it, but then it would be frozen for a turn. And then I could just attack. Alright, we'll trust my instincts. Let's go ahead and do this. Draw a card, see what I got. Maybe I'll get another thing I can play. Imp Master, that's actually good. And we'll go ahead and kill the creature and ping my opponent. Was that the best play I could have made? Hard to say. Holy Nova would actually kill the Cult Master and the Imp, and then it will greatly weaken the Imp Master. But it would leave the Frost Elemental alive. I now have some serious card advantage against my opponent here. So I've got the Imp Master and the Cult Master, which sucks for my opponent, because if he plays anything, the Imp can turn into a card. And I still have Silence and Polymorph. Polymorph is just like a really, really good Silence, if you think about it. So, I've got a lot of answers here. I just don't have any more creatures to play. If my opponent plays stuff, I'll be fine. If my opponent kills my stuff somehow, then I'll be less fine. Loving that Jones cream soda.
I must consider.
I don't even know what's going on in this game. This game is so bizarre. Anyway, I think we're fine now. I think with 3 cards here to my 3 cards, but I have stuff on the board and he doesn't. He'd need some pretty amazing stuff to catch back up. Mind controlling the Cult Master, that's interesting. I guess if he had mind controlled anything else, I could have drawn cards off of it. Weird. Well, let's go ahead and do the obvious. So we'll ping, use the little imp, swing for 6. It's a bit unfortunate. I can't really play anything else at the moment. All my stuff is like removal or silence. I mean, I could play this as a 2-1. That would just be kind of silly, though, I think. So same deal, my opponent has 3 cards to my 3 creatures and 4 cards. Alright, he has like literally nothing to do. I don't know what's going on in this game. Does this opponent also have a mind control tech and he's waiting for a 4th creature? Alright, I'll give him a 4th creature, but I'll play correctly this time. I will not get rid of the imp. Wow, that was a bug. This imp got punted over to the other side of the Fen Creeper. That's awesome. Yeah, so a mind control tech only has a 1 in 5 chance of getting something really good here. We'll see if my opponent has that as well, as the Hunter did. What is he holding in his hand? Does he have like a bunch of Shadow Word Deaths? No. Shadow Word Death, he'd kill that. Holy Fire, okay. I guess that's a card. That came from the left side of his hand. He could have done that last turn. He had a ton of mana left over. He's just not doing anything. Okay, well, we'll do this, this. You don't want to ever mindlessly play stuff, but I am playing that worm consciously because it survives Holy Nova. If I were up against a mage, let's say, I probably wouldn't have played this mana worm because I'd be waiting for the flame strike. But against Holy Nova, it clears out my Imp Master and all the imps, but the mana worm lives, the Fen Creeper lives. Should be in good shape. And again, I still have all my answers here. Mega removal, medium removal, little removal. What cards does my opponent have that he has nothing to do? Is he like sitting on like 3 mind controls and like doesn't want to mind control a Fen Creeper? Is he waiting for me to play something better? If he has a mind control, it's absolutely correct to get this. It stops me from attacking. It actually removes my biggest damage source. I mean, he would definitely want to play the second mind control if he had it there. This game, I keep harping on this, and I apologize if I sound like a broken record, but it's mainly because I see a lot of whining about it on the forums. But there's the Holy Nova, so notice the Mana Worm surviving there, so it's fine. I see a lot of people harping about priests and mind control in particular, but this game is a really good illustration of how mind control can just totally fail. If you've been losing the whole game, then the mind control is not going to save you. So he had an owl. Okay, that's a reasonable card to sit on without doing anything. Let's go ahead and kill the owl. So this guy is a humble 1/1 now. Pretty sure there's no healing in this deck, so that's not going to change. This guy's a very mediocre card, but you know what? In this circumstance, it's actually solid. I gotta put a 5 power creature on the board. Finally my opponent plays a creature. Oh, he's gonna draw a card. He's holding on to Power Word Shield. That's a card a priest could be sitting on and have nothing to do. Thought Steal? Oh, that's a bit scary, actually. Now, my opponent, he might have just top decked the Thought Steal after playing the Power Word Shield on the Ogre, so I'm not going to harp on him for not drawing cards first. Let's go ahead and polymorph this guy. And let's go ahead and play this as well. If I throw my Mana Worm away on his sheep, it stops him from playing more Power Word Shields. My opponent Thought Stole, so he might have a Flame Strike, actually. This guy is essentially, like, has no downsides, because I don't have any creatures I want to play. So, Flame Strike, Thought Stole and Flame Strike would kill these two things, and leave this guy alive. Power Word Shield. Wow, Mana Worm and Power Word Shield, that is a heck of a combo. Okay, anyway, I don't know what was going on with this game, but it is finally over. So yeah, my opponent, in the beginning, he threw away a Bluegill Warrior. He just played it, knowing that a Mage could kill it. And he also threw away the Scarlet Crusader, again, knowing that a Mage could finish it off. So it's a good thing we were a Mage, because though those plays could have worked had we been something like a Hunter, and didn't have the ability to pick off his creatures that he was dropping down. But since we did, we just got an advantage, and he did silly things until he died. So that was a weird win. It might have been a new player. It's hard to say. That could have been a Sunday afternoon casual player. As you've noticed, if you've been watching all the videos, we've been seeing a lot less of those than we used to. It used to be like every arena, the first game or even the first couple, would be against someone who really didn't know what they were doing. But now it's been going away, so the field is getting tougher. Lobster. For some reason, Lobster seems like such a fitting name to me for a shaman. That's awesome. Lobster the Shaman. Alright, Spellbinder, I'm just not that excited about that, nor am I excited about the Arcane Explosion. Let's get some actual cards here, hopefully. Maybe. Ugh, well. We're gonna need a sip of Jones Cream Soda for good luck. So, yeah, this is gonna be a very slow start. I really don't have anything until turn 3 and then turn 4. Polymorph is good in the end game, obviously so is Flame Strike. Early on, though, polymorphing stuff's not great. When a Shaman and a Mage both have slow starts, all else being equal, it benefits the Shaman, because the Mage's hero ability on an empty board is really bad. I mean, dealing a damage to your opponent is just sucky. But the Shaman's hero ability, putting stuff on the board that, you know, could provide taunt or spell damage, or even a little 1/1, I mean, it's all good. Okay, well, there's two options here. First option, I want to cry about the fact that I didn't have the Wild Pyromancer 2 turns ago. The other thing is, do I play the Flesh-Eating Ghoul or do I play the Acolyte of Pain? So the Flesh-Eating Ghoul's advantage is I can kill this thing and start to grow it. The Acolyte of Pain's advantage is I can start to draw some cards. I'm going to actually play the Acolyte. So the idea here is, because my opponent got, well, depending on what he has to follow up, either lucky or unlucky with the Searing Totem, I might be able to kill the Searing Totem with the Acolyte and draw a card. And also grow my Flesh-Eating Ghoul, which I will be dropping next turn. But if my opponent has, say, a Flame Tongue Totem, he'll be really lucky that he got the Searing Totem, because then he can play Flame Tongue, this deals 3 damage, and he can actually kill my Acolyte in one go. So I'll get a card, he'll lose a Totem, nobody really comes out ahead, but he's got a Flame Tongue on the board. See, there's a really good example. If this had been any other kind of Totem, my Acolyte of Pain would survive. Instead, it dies. So, again, I drew a card. This Totem was not a card, so my opponent's not falling behind for that, but it was a bit unfortunate for me. Okay, so here, I think what I'm going to do is just play it slow. We're going to play the Wild Pyromancer, kill off the Abusive Sergeant for a little bit of card advantage, and just, you know, see what my opponent has to say for himself. Mana Worm would have been great, you know, 4 turns ago. It actually could have made a really big difference. I could have killed off that Searing Totem before it could get pumped. My opponent has a Flesh-Eating Ghoul and another Abusive Sergeant, or a Rockbiter weapon. He's got a Rockbiter weapon, and he's deciding to throw away his Totem. I think it's, oh man, I think we're playing against new players here. That is a mistake. Taking 3 damage to the face is totally worth keeping the Totem around. Maybe he did that because he wanted the flesh-eating ghoul to be bigger? Nah, I don't know. That doesn't seem like the right move to me. He's fingering cards as though he has something else to do? Nope, okay. Well, let's go ahead and just play our biggest creature. This holds up nicely. Even though the flesh-eating ghoul has had some munchies, the Fen Creeper is a big enough tank that it can survive a hit. And then if all else, stays equal, I can just play a flesh-eating ghoul next turn, kill the flesh-eating ghoul with my opponent, and then start to grow this thing. I'll have, 6 mana? I could even play this and the flesh-eating ghoul, the mana worm. See what my opponent has. He has like a Dark Iron Dwarf. That will totally vindicate. Well, that's fine. If he had a Dark Iron Dwarf, that would totally vindicate throwing away his totem earlier, because the totem gave the flesh-eating ghoul more power. But that's not what my opponent had, so, Alright, well, let's think about this. I could play Arcane Explosion. It doesn't really help. Alright. Well, I guess what we'll do is we'll just kill the flesh-eating ghoul. That seems like a good use of my time. And I'm going to actually play Water Elemental. I don't want to play Mana Worm, it'll just die. I'm gonna hit the Spellbreaker. And you might wonder, well, Boris, why are you hitting the Spellbreaker? It's dead anyway. Because you never know what happens. My opponent could play, like, I don't know, Spell Damage Totem, Forked Lightning, Lightning Bolt, or whatever. And then both my creatures are dead. Then I'll be really happy this thing has a damage on it, because it'll be potentially easier to kill later on. Now, there's a greedy play that I could have made there. I could have played the Brewmaster and put the Fen Creeper back into my hand as a way of trying to heal him and bring back a taunt. Problem with that is, it leaves me with 1 creature on the board rather than 2, and the Brewmaster is a 5/4 rather than a 4/5. 4/5 would have been better. It could have survived against the Breaker, but as it is, the Breaker could kill my Panda, and then I'd have an empty board. So I want to make sure I'm not falling too behind on the board race. My opponent seems to be very methodical here. I mean, we are coming up on turn 7, so he has to think about Flame Strike, and as a matter of fact, I do have it, so he is being well rewarded for his care. He flipped a Taunt Totem, probably the best totem under the circumstances, because it means he can play some bad creatures here that will die to my tanks, well, my tank and my former tank, and they're sort of protected. Arcane Explosion is good if you can get spell damage, but I've noticed I draft the spell damage minions pretty lowly. I don't really like them very much, so the Arcane Explosion is not as good as it could be. Alright, he's going to play a Swarm Creature, hiding out behind his stuff, and attack me for another 4 damage, it seems. Interesting choice. Okay, well, let's take a moment to get our bearings here. One option would be to play the Arcane Explosion. This would kill off the Dragonling, get the Stoneclaw Totem and the Spellbreaker down to 1 health apiece, whereupon I can use the Pyroblast to kill off the Spellbreaker, use my Fen Creeper to kill off the Totem, use the Water Elemental to kill off the Dragonling mechanic. What that does is it preserves my Flame Strike, and furthermore, it leaves me with 3 mana with which to play a Flesh-Eating Ghoul. Oh, that's good. We will do this. That is a good plan. Now, there's a risk to this plan. The risk is if my opponent has a Lightning Storm, and he flips a Spell Damage Totem, the Ghoul and the Fen Creeper will die, and the Water Elemental will have a 50% chance to die. But, first of all, he has to have seen that rare in his draft, then he had to draft it, then he had to draw it, and then he has to face the 1 in 4 odds of actually getting the Spell Damage Totem. He appears not to have that. He's just going to use more mundane means. Just a Lightning Bolt. Well, 1 mana is a very efficient way of dealing with that 6/3, so good on him. Frost Elemental, also a very solid card. And it's stopping me from attacking. Here's the coin. Rockbiter Weapon. So he's going to do it on himself, and he's going to finish off my Fen Creeper. Well, it was a good move by my opponent. I spent my turn clearing out my board. And now my opponent spent his turn, I spent the turn clearing out his board, and now he spent the turn clearing out mine. Well, 1 turn deserves another. I was going to play Panda, the Water Elemental, but then just replay it and call it a day. But this is actually an even better move. I'm going to do this. And I'm actually going to ping it. Now, the reason that I'm pinging the creature right here is that there is a chance if my opponent does not flip a Healing Totem, and does not deal with my Water Elemental, I can ping this again next turn, get it down to 3 health, and then the Water Elemental will finish it off. That way I can preserve my 5/5. He does not get a Healing Totem. He gets a Taunt, which is almost as good, but not quite, because I can still kill the Taunt Totem and still trade my Frost Elemental, or my Water Elemental for his Frost Elemental. Yeah, that's not confusing at all, Blizzard. But you notice how I have a 5/5? I could, of course, have traded mine for his, but it's even better if I can trade my 3/4 for his formerly 5/5. Okay, he's going to play a bunch of stuff. My opponent seems to be desperate, because the move that he just made was kind of like a I don't even care if you have Flame Strike sort of move. I will just use Flame Strike here. Look, he's only got 2 cards left. So, can I play the Sorcerer's Apprentice and the Mana Worm? Let's see, that's a 9 minus 3 is 6. Ah, and then Flame Strike does cost 6. Alright. Like I said before, whenever you have a Sorcerer's Apprentice in play, always think ahead, like, you know, chess style, to what your mana costs are going to be, because you might be able to play something that you didn't think you could play. Okay, well, now I'm really dominating. My opponent has to clear my board. I love Shamans very much. One weakness of Shamans is global removal. Once creatures get to like 4 or 5 health, it gets really tricky to remove them. My opponent does have a very good skill, which is flipping Taunt Totems like a boss, and he has the Lightning Storm. Was not able to get the spell damage totem. Even with the spell damage, the Frost Elemental would have lived. The Water Elemental would have died, actually, though. So I'm lucky my opponent did not flip that particular type of totem. Now, I could actually silence this Stoneclaw totem, get more damage through. I think this might be the time to Panda, actually. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use the Panda here. So this is a kind of a makeshift heal. I was tempted to silence his taunt totem. As I've mentioned before, when you silence a shaman's totem, on the one hand you're using some resources on something that was free and did not cost a card, but on the other hand you're preventing the shaman from getting another copy of that totem again, because the totemic call Hero of Power does not allow a totem to be spawned of a type that's already on the board. So if there's a silenced totem on the board, it still counts as your Stoneclaw totem is out there, but it's not actually doing anything, so you rob your opponent of the ability to get that totem again. My opponent flipped like 4 of these in a row. He's pretty nuts. Stormforged Axe, oh my gosh, wow. That is bad news for him. So I am actually, let's see, can I win this turn? Hang on a minute. I can silence this. I've got 8, 9 damage. No. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit with the Frost Elemental. And you might wonder, Boris, wait, doesn't this hit harder? Wouldn't you want to kill the totem with the Water Elemental? But I actually want to freeze my opponent to stop him from attacking with the weapon. Not that I think it's really going to matter that much, but I think it's a good habit to develop to make sure that when you have a Water Elemental, you hit your opponent with it. I think I win this game no matter what, so I might as well build good habits. I don't really know what a Shaman could do with 2 cards to get rid of this. He got the spell damage totem this time, but this is the thing about Shamans. Once you get up to like 5 health, they're really not good at global removal. So if you can get ahead against a Shaman and a number of your creatures have 5 health or more, you're fine. Against a Mage, no problem. Mage is like, well, I'll Flame Strike and pick one off with the hero ability. A Mage is like, well, I'll just like freeze your stuff in place. You know, mages have ways to deal with that. They have all kinds of delaying tactics and whatnot. Wow, well, you know it's a good game when you've got 2 polymorphs in your hand. You're crushing your opponent and the polymorphs are completely unnecessary. That is pretty awesome. Lobster the Shaman seems to have had a decent deck, but I just got a really good draw. I didn't really get that good of a draw, did I? I had a very slow draw. But I guess it just didn't matter. My opponent wasn't able to build up enough pressure. That Stampeding Kodo just ate the Gurubashi Berserker. This is living the dream right here. Normally, when you can Stampeding Kodo a Gurubashi Berserker, you'll win, but in that game, my opponent got to live the dream and still die. Alright, well that was a really crushing game. In between the first video and this one, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time passed by. So I got a new daily quest, which happened to be to win with Mage, so we got a nice free 40 gold there. For doing what we already were doing anyway. I think every single one of those 4 wins was really solid, so I've got high hopes for this deck. I'll be very sad if all of a sudden I lose 3 in a row and just poop out. I haven't felt this good in a while playing in the arena. had some bad streaks over the weekend. And then, of course, there was my marathon last night when I wouldn't go to bed because I was just desperately trying to have an arena that didn't suck. So that was fun. I wonder when Hearthstone's going to get released. Because Blizzard said that it was going to get released in 2013. Oh, what is going on? Let's start this over. Blizzard said that the game was going to get released this year in 2013. And they also said that anyone who opted into the closed beta would get in via a beta key before the open beta started. So unless the open beta is super short, that doesn't actually leave a whole lot of time. I know a lot of folks watching this still haven't gotten their beta keys. But it should be coming soon unless Blizzard's going to push back the release date. Mad Loser the Shaman. Lots of well-named shamans here today. We're going to send this back, and I'm going to send back the Panda as well. We'll keep my turn 3 plays here. We'll probably play one on turn 2 and the other on turn 3. My opponent could, of course, interfere a little bit by playing something that needs to be frost-bolted. Let's say my opponent were to play a Pint-Sized Summoner on turn 2. I would definitely frostbolt that in lieu of coining out one of my other creatures. Because you gotta respect that pint size. Direwolf Alpha. Well, there's a couple of ways I could deal with this. One, I could of course just frostbolt it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the riskier play here. I'm gonna actually coin out Raging Worgen. So basically my creature totally owns my opponent's creature at the moment. So shamans have 1,000,001 ways of dealing with this Raging Worgen, but if he happens in these 5 cards not to have a way of dealing with it, then I'm going to get a really, really good start. Because I can get to kill it, turn on Wind Fury, and give him all kinds of problems. Oh man, my opponent, look, did not have an answer for the Worgen. So that's good news for me. Let's go ahead and just kill the wolf. And then now it's time to think. So, do I just go ahead and, content myself to kill that creature with the Worgen? Or do I actually Frostbolt it and attack at my opponent? So there's pros and cons to both options. The advantage of killing this is that I can play a creature, that I can play the Acolyte of Pain, and have that on the board. The advantage of frostbolting this is that if my opponent happens not to have any kind of removal or a way to deal with this, he will just lose the game. That's a tricky call. I mean, he clearly didn't have removal last time. What could he have for 1 mana, or for 1 damage that wouldn't have taken care of it at 3 damage? Like, Rockbiter Weapon is 3, Lightning Bolt is 3, Forked Lightning, I don't have any other creatures. Frost Shock? I guess he could Frost Shock this, or Earth Shock it? I'm just gonna take it safe. I'm just gonna content myself with the 2-for-1. If my opponent had no removal, then he didn't have any removal. But the problem is that, like, at 4 mana, I mean, if he plays like something stupid like Dwarven Forge Rifleman or whatever, and then my guy dies, I'm in worse shape. Okay, well, let's think about this. I could Frostbolt the Twilight Drake, take it down to 2 health, Hero Ability down to 1, Acolyte of Pain down to 0. It's an option, and then I can also put a Sorcerer's Apprentice onto the board. Ah, no! Sorcerer's Apprentice on the board. This is still 1 mana. Then I don't have enough for the hero ability. That's no good. I'd have to, yeah, it's just no good. that play is just no good. I think we're going to have to go for the alternative approach, which is to play the Shield Master. Now, the risk here is that if my opponent has any way to buff the damage on the Drake, then my Sen'jin dies. But the good news is then this will be down to 2 health, and so at least I'll be able to Frostbolt and finish it off. So, I don't know. Hard to say. If my opponent was not holding removal, then keeping my Wind Fury creature alive, I would have hit him down to 25. I'd be hitting him for 8 next turn, down to 17. I mean, it would have been absolutely nuts. But I felt like since I had another play to make, I would take the more conservative approach. Okay, so there's the Unbound Elemental. It's a bit sad for me to see that because it is a 3/5 now. And my opponent is going to get to kill my Sen'jin. Oh my gosh. Well, my opponent had this axe, so I think he would have been able to kill my Worgen regardless. Boy. So this doesn't really work. The Twilight Drake just kills it. This is partly, by the way, why I hate the Booty Bay Bodyguard so much. It's just so many things that kill it so easily. Cult Master's no good either, though. Oh man, this game is just, it's going very quickly to the dogs here. I think my main hope is to survive for 2 more turns and try to get Flame Strike to catch me back up. That is my one saving grace here. Booty Bay just... the Twilight Drake just kills it. I guess that preserves my Acolyte. Alright, we'll do this. So the Twilight Drake got to kill a creature, my Sen'jin. And it will now kill the Booty Bay off. Alright, that's fine. He's gonna actually kill off my Acolyte. That's also fine, because it He's now at 4 health, so it'll die to Flame Strike in a turn. Is he going to play more creatures that die to Flame Strike? That is what I'd like to know. He's going to actually attack me with the axe. Interesting choice. Fairy Dragon. Well, I am really looking forward to Flame Strike. Spellbender. This is actually a good time to do that, I think. Yeah, let's just play Spellbender here. I can't really play this because my opponent will just kill it with the axe. That would be silly. So what we're going to do is we're going to ping the Unbound Elemental. This does a couple of things. Number one, it's a bit of a mind game. It might make my opponent think I don't have Flame Strike. Number two, if my opponent plays another card with Overload, this will come up to 4 health, so then a Flame Strike will still kill it. That is the idea. Now, if my opponent just plays a giant 7-mana creature, the problem is then I Flame Strike, the creature he plays will live, and then I will be just screwed. Alright, he looks like he's gonna make a totem, so he didn't have anything for 7 mana. So Doomhammer, oh my god. You gotta be kidding me. Well, this is 14 damage, just by hitting me like a bozo. Luckily, I can play Flame Strike. I could not play the Sorcerer's Apprentice and then Flame Strike. I was 1 mana short. But the problem is that now he's got 14 damage here, so really all he needs is like any kind of a burn spell and he'll just win. Okie dokie. I need taunt and I don't have it. I can Frostbolt my opponent. That can like hold the fort, I guess. I think I have to start doing that. Yep. I think I have to. We're gonna play the Fen Creeper of our own. And we're gonna Frostbolt my opponent. Obviously, I'm not entertaining any hope of burning him out. I'm just using that to buy time. This game went to the dogs. Man, I had that moment with the Worgen. But he had the Stormforged Axe, so he was going to be able to kill the Worgen anyway. So it wasn't going to help me. My main hope here is I can actually play the Sea Giant next turn, and I can Frostbolt again. So if my opponent really skips a lot of beats and has like nothing to play here for some reason, I could catch up. We'll see. The Water Elemental might be my saving grace in this game. I'm actually going to go ahead and kill off the Fen Creeper. So, the idea here is that I got a taunt, so my opponent can't attack me with this Doomhammer, at least. So that's good. For the time being. I don't have any more taunt, but hopefully I can play this guy and get him on and get him to attack my opponent. So if I keep him attack my opponent with this Water Elemental, then I will be able to stop him from attacking me with this Doomhammer. He might be holding on. He hasn't been playing many cards, which makes me suspect that what he's got is like Lightning Bolt or Lava Burst or some kind of burn spells, and he's just waiting for the opportunity to hit me down. The nice thing is this Spellbender could be really good because it actually stops a burn spell. Fire Elemental is really tragic to see here because it's not a spell, so it killed my Fen Creeper, and now my opponent gets to keep hitting me. Also, this thing is going to get to kill my Water Elemental. And there's a Taunt Totem in the way. God darn it. I think I might just be screwed. I have no way to remove this. I have to spend my 8/8 to kill that thing. And I can't play this. I can't play this, it'll just die. I don't have any way to freeze anymore. This sucks. Whatever. We'll just play junk. So yeah, what am I doing? The game's ended. This game was dumb. Maybe there was some way that I could win it. I don't think it had to do with the Worgen in the beginning. It had to do something with the mid game. Perhaps did I like play a Fen Creeper and then Frostbolt my opponent? I shouldn't have, because the Fen Creeper the taunt would have protected me. But anyway, the Fire Elemental basically won my opponent the game. Not that I can complain too much. It is a common card. I think he's afraid of a Vaporize, which is why he's not just like attacking with the Fire Elemental right now. He's afraid the Fire Elemental is going to die to a Vaporize. That is really funny. But he'll just flush out whatever the secret is and then attack and win. Uh-oh. So the jig is up. So he finds out this way that it's a Spellbender. Normally Spellbending a Hex on your 8/8 is good. But the problem now is that he's got Wind Fury, so he can kill the frog with one of his attacks, swing at the Fire Elemental, and then use his other attack to finish me off. Ugh, that game sucked. Alright, whatever. On to the next game. Mad Loser the Shaman sneaks a victory with the epic Doomhammer. I can't complain. I mean, I had my own epic, the Sea Giant. You know, that was a lot better than Pyroblast would have been. Huh? Huh? How about that drafting? Yeah? I needed to get the Water Elemental down sooner. If I could have kept hitting him, then he wouldn't have been able to burn me out the way that he did with his weapon. What else could have gone differently in that game? So I started off really good. I got my Raging Worgen to kill his 2-drop and his 3-drop. But I just didn't have a good follow-up play. That's too bad. Because he had the Stormforged Axe, and I had a bunch of stuff at 2 health that I couldn't play for some reason. Could I have played a Fen Creeper earlier? Maybe. I don't remember. That's going to be a good one to go over. I have a feeling there might have been a way to play more precisely and sneak a win out of there. Anyway, what is going on with the games tonight? Not starting. Let's go ahead and start that over. So we take our... Oh, Jesus. There was an error starting your game. Please wait a few minutes and try again. Uh-oh. Well, we might be ending this video and having to go on to a part 3. I don't like doing that, but the game is in beta. There will be technical difficulties. I did not wait a few minutes before trying again, as you may have noticed. Luckily, it didn't seem to matter. Hooray! Up against another priest. Maxwell's Demon the Priest. That's a good name for a priest. Ah, well, this is quite the start. So we are second. We have a Mana Worm. The coin counts as a spell. We also have Frostbolt. I don't need 2 Frostbolts. I'm okay with just 1. We'll be very happy just to play Mana Worm, Frostbolt one thing, and then start playing our own creatures. Oh, what a friendly chap saying greetings. Well, we got a little bit of an edge. He did not have a Northshire Cleric, but I did have a Mana Worm. That's good. These are not the most aggressive 3-drops in the game, that's for sure. In fact, I don't even want to play either one of them, I don't think. Yeah, if I were to play one of these, the Ooze would kill my Mana Worm, so no thanks to that. Let's just buff this up. This is basically a 2-3 for 1 mana. So, hooray. Now I don't need to use the coin anytime soon. Actually, I might coin out this guy on turn 4. Priests are probably better than anyone else at dealing with Ventrico Mercenary, actually. If you think about it, because they have the Shadow Word Death, which is a 3-mana removal for it. Well, I have a couple options. One, I could Frostbolt this, coin, Hero Ability, finish off the Golem. This becomes a 4-3. That's actually really good. I might not do this against a different class, but against a priest in particular, when it's a 4-3, it's hard to remove for the priest. So it's more likely than average, I think, to survive. There is a price for that play. The price is that I cannot play this on turn 4 now. But the advantage is that I now have 5 cards to my opponent's 5, but I have a creature on the board and it's 4-3, so he's going to need to have something pretty good to deal with it. Granted, he could get it. Like a Chillwind Yeti or Ascension Shieldmaster would both have been fantastic there. He did not have that, though. This is actually really awkward. This is actually very awkward, because basically if I play one of these, the Raging Worgen can, like, trigger Wind Fury against it and then kill both my things. Oh, that sucks. Well, so what we're going to do is we're going to do that. So the Raging Worgen, while not obviously as good of a solution to a Mana Worm as a Ascension Shieldmaster would have been, happened to be very good given the cards in my hand. And we're going to just play an Imp Master and start the Imp army here. Cult Master would be nice to see. It is 1 card out of 22, so not super likely.
For the king.
And he's got that guy. Ugh, well, that's annoying. He's actually going to deal damage to my Imp Master. Fair choice. I still can't kill it, even with both of these and the hero ability. That guy's got a lot of health. I think now's the time, though, to play one of my 5-drops. So this guy's actually kind of cool, because he holds up against the Stormwind Knight quite nicely. This guy is just huge, though. Well, let's play the Taunt. Normally, that Taunt is not one that is very good, but in this particular situation, he's actually very, very solid. The best play my opponent might have, for example, is a Holy Nova. Clear out the Imp Master and both Imps, get this guy down to 2 health. This guy would heal, but the Booty Bay's 5 attack would still kill it after it attacked me. So my opponent could spend his whole turn to clear everything out, then I'd be the first to replay. Ah, that is actually an even better play. Oh god, that is a really good play. Well, that sucks. Polymorph, there's nothing really good to Polymorph here. Flesh-Eating Ghoul is just going to die. Actually, unless I throw both imps away and the hero ability, I could do that. Yeah, we'll do that. Sure. So I had a giant mana worm, my opponent dealt with it. I now have a giant flesh-eating ghoul. We'll see if my opponent can deal with that. My opponent actually has 6 cards to my 5, so he sneaked an edge in there with the Argent Commander just stone cold, killing off my Booty Bay Bodyguard. Another Argent Commander would be the Ace Dickens here, killing off my Flesh-Eating Ghoul. Flame Strike, I'd be barely catching up.
Is someone injured?
Northshire Cleric. Well, my opponent's going to get to draw a card, getting even further ahead. The fact that I never got this down is actually really starting to hurt me in this game. Can my opponent answer a 5-3 with 4 mana?
Put it on your tab.
The answer is kind of. Kind of, but not really. Well, I could play Novice Engineer on the Ventrico. And the Ghoul can actually kill his 2-5, which is interesting. The Ventrico technically survives against the Brewmaster. That's definitely a play. I could also just Flame Strike and make this a 7-3 and attack. My opponent will have 4 cards plus a card he drew plus a Northshire Cleric and 8 mana. If he steals this thing with Mind Control, I can polymorph it. I like this plan though. It does draw me a card and I'm behind on cards. And it also puts a really big threat onto the board. And it also gives me card advantage. So I'm still getting like all the benefits of the Flame Strike, namely the card advantage, without being quite as vulnerable to a single removal spell. So this guy's disadvantage isn't actually that relevant. I don't particularly need more creatures at the moment. I just need I need a Flame Strike perhaps if he plays a bunch of little stuff, or Polymorph if he plays one big thing. Mad Bomber is a good play. He's got a good chance of killing my Ghoul. He killed my Novice Engineer, comically enough. But the Ghoul survived. So the Ghoul dodged the Mad Bombing. So that was 2 of his 8 mana. What has he got for the rest of it? We've got 2 cards, 2 cards, 4 cards, 4 cards, plus he also has this bugged Northshire Cleric, which is playable. The bug is a graphical bug. The card is still able to be played. Alright, my opponent's just going to get rid of the Ghoul there. I cannot blame him for this. And he still has 6 mana. So he's going to heal up. That's encouraging. He had nothing to do with 6. That's good. And a Fairy Dragon. Well, I could Flame Strike here to kill off these 2 creatures. Spellbender might be nice. I'd gone into 5 health, or 5 mana. It's not quite enough to play the Acolyte of Pain. Bummer. Well, let's do this anyway. So basically, I'm going to swing for 7 damage. And just wait for my opponent to deal with this guy. So if my opponent plays more stuff with the dice to Flame Strike, I'll happily kill it all with Flame Strike. If my opponent plays one big thing, I can Polymorph it. So I've got kind of the answers here. You really feel like you're on top of the world when you're a mage with Polymorph and Flame Strike. You're like, I can handle anything! My opponent, I don't think would be really wise to race me here. He really should deal with this guy. Now, attacking with the Mad Bomber suggests one of 2 things. Either he is just going to race me and attack with the Fairy Dragon, or he's going to remove it. Mind Control. Oh my god. That is one of the most epic spellbenders that I have ever seen. I might need to change my appraisal of that card. Yikes. So he just spent 8 mana to steal a 1-3. Well, I'm not complaining. Now this guy unfortunately sucks now. I believe that was the only secret in my deck, comically enough. So this is not playable. I don't want this to go back into my hand. This is just a 3-3 for 4 mana, which sort of blows. This guy is a 1-3 card drawer. You know what? Let's just Flame Strike. This seems fine. So my opponent can heal up to 10, so I cannot quite kill him next turn. But he needs to, he needs to deal with this thing. Mind Control would be his whole turn, and I could polymorph. Oh, he's gonna concede. Okay. Well, he could have held on for another turn, so that was maybe a little bit of an early concession, but it's possible he just had a bunch of crap cards and had nothing to do. No taunt, no removal, no nothing. So that was a pretty good win. Ventrico Mercenary, man, glad I drafted that card. It sort of went the distance all by itself. Let's take some more Jones Cream Soda. Sips to preserve our good luck. Sweet and tasty. Up against a rogue, the Soul Taker. Alright, well this is actually just a keeper. I'm just going to keep this whole hand. No need to dick around here. We have our 1-drop. Turn 2 is going to suck. There's no question about that. But if she does have Coin Defias Ringleader, turn 2 will actually be somewhat productive. I will be using turn 2 to pick off the bandit that gets spawned. And then on turn 3 we're going to drop a Flesh-Eating Ghoul probably. I mean, I could drop the Imp Master first, then the Ghoul, and then have the Imp start dying. Alright, here's Coin something. Yep. Yep. Alright, well, we had nothing to do on turn 2 anyway. Alright, we're going to do this, actually. Yep, we're going to do this. The reason I'm doing this is... I mean, if you have a chance to kill creatures by your opponent, go ahead and take it. So my opponent can, of course, now use the dagger to finish off the Mana Worm, but that is her whole turn. Which is fine to me. Flesh-Eating Ghoul is a bit sad here. There's nothing that's going to be dying anytime soon. Let's just Imp Master up. The Rogue's hero ability actually is quite good against the Imp Master. Every 1 activation of this dagger takes care of 2 imps that I can play, but that means she's attacking the imps and not other things, and she is taking a point of damage for that. This guy I don't particularly care about that much, so I'm kind of happy to see him. If that's all she's going to do and rebuild her dagger, I'll call that a victory. Alright, great. Well, here we're going to drop kind of the king of the hill. The Sen'jin Shieldmaster is rather good right now. My opponent's already used the coin, so no Assassinate. Betrayal's not good. Eviscerate could be good, if she combos it out. And a Sap to put this back into my hand actually wouldn't be that bad either. She seems to have top-decked something she likes, maybe? The Worgen Infiltrator, by the way, is really like one of the, I'd say, 2 neutral 1-drops I consider good.
So many options.
Backstab, okay. It's because it's stealthy, so it doesn't just die. The other one would be Argent Squire. My opponent, I think, is just going to kill the Sen'jin the hard way. I'd say I come out way ahead there, because she actually used the Backstab and the Worgen Infiltrator just to take care of my 1 creature. So that's cool. The Cult Master would be good, except I actually don't have a mana left over after sacrificing these 2 things to finish this thing off. So what we're going to do instead is... man, it's tricky. I could play this, and then Flesh-Eating Ghoul. I could throw away this Imp to make the Flesh-Eating Ghoul a 3/3 to trade with that thing. That's an option. I'd like to kill this, but can I? Well, I can. I can throw away everything, hero ability, and then Flesh-Eating Ghoul. Or so, for Flesh-Eating Ghoul first, throw them away, and then hero ability. What does that give me? A Flesh-Eating Ghoul? That doesn't seem that right. Ah, man. It's a tricky situation. I wish I had 6 mana. With 6 mana, I'd play Cult Master, throw away the Imp Master and the Imp, get this done to 1 health, hero ability, finish it off, draw 2 cards. Seems good. This, I only get 1 card, and this thing doesn't even die, so that doesn't seem right. I could play the Panda, put the Imp back into my hand, and then have a 5/4, so my opponent would have to dagger and use the 3/3 to kill off my Panda that way. And then she's also not killing the Imp Master. Alright, we're going to do that. So when you pop things back into your hand, always make sure you attack with them first so you're not wasting the attack. Let's pass the turn. Oh, I could have put this back onto the board. Whoops. Well, we'll save it for later, I suppose. Actually, having it on the board with a Cult Master in my hand could have been really nice. Ah, Dark Iron Dwarf is a very good card. It puts a 4/4 on the board. Lets her kill one of these imps off. That sucks. That's one of the worst things that could have possibly happened. Ugh. Dark Iron Dwarf, so good. Water Elemental. Well, that holds up well against the Dark Iron Dwarf, that's for sure. So, always draw cards first. I'm going to first play the Novice Engineer. Frost Elemental. Oh, that would have been so good at the beginning of this turn. Could have played it, frozen this thing, gotten a 5/5 versus her 4/4. That would have been great. Well, I'm still in the game. This is definitely anyone's game. She has 5 cards to my 4, but my board is a little bit better developed. Now, if she could play like a Fan of Knives, that would change everything. Fan of Knives, kill, dagger would kill this off, and then this is at 5 health, so it almost dies to the dwarf. That is also a good play. That's actually a little bit difficult for me to kill all this stuff. I don't have any removal. You know what I don't have? I don't have Flame Strike. Flame Strike would be really, really good right here. Alas, I do not have it. That guy is not what the doctor ordered. Well, let's take a look. Cult Master. I could throw away the Imp Master and the Imp, And then actually kill this thing off too, and then I'd be left with 3-2 Elemental and 4-2 Cult Master. The 4-4 would probably trade for my Cult Master, unless of course she had a Backstab. Well, that's one option. It's one option. I would also get to play a Flesh-Eating Ghoul. Oh, the Flesh-Eating Ghoul would get huge. I could also play Frost Elemental, freeze this thing, kill this, then this thing kind of sucks. It gets to kill one of my imps. Yeah, let's actually do this move. So we're going to do this. We're going to do Cult Master. This Imp Master's on her way out anyway. So let's just draw a card. Grow my Flesh-Eating Ghoul. I actually got the combo here. That's cool. And there she goes. Alright, I think that's good. So I gave myself a really good board here. Rogues, she could catch up really easily. Spell damage, Fan of Knives. I'm lost. Betrayal. Oh god, did I forget to... Actually, no, there was no way to play around Betrayal. So she just gets to kill 2 of my creatures for 2 mana. I guess probably the best would have been to put the Cult Master in the middle. That way the Cult Master would have lived and I would have drawn 2 cards. Oh my god, this game all of a sudden blows donkey chunks. Well, the good news is I can Frost Elemental and I have 2 mana left over. It's not that great. Well, I could also play Spellbender. Arcanist, he's a 5-5. Holds up against the dagger, holds up against that. This is also a 5-5. I guess we'll get more stuff onto the board, right? Let's do this. This. And... Alright, this imp's never getting any better. Let's just play it. Okay, so we got our combo. There's 1 secret in this deck, I think, and 1 of these guys. And we drew them both at the same time, so that's nice. Now, the nice thing is that my life total is high enough, my opponent can't really burn me out with the blade. And her life total is low enough, she's got to be kind of careful about hitting things with the blade. So that's nice. She's going to need a little bit of help. In fact, she's going to need a lot of help, because one of her direct removal spells is going to get spell bent. And that's kind of cool. If she has, like, mass removal, like, say, Fan of Knives or something, that'll be a little better. Betrayal. Uh-oh. How's this going to work? So... I think this actually achieved what my opponent wanted. She just wanted the imp to deal a damage to my Ethereal Arcanist so that the Squire could kill it off. And now she gets to kill off my Spellbender. And she still has 6 mana for the turn. Yeah, that was terrible. That went horribly. Oh, man, I'm lucky, though. My opponent doesn't have anything. Oh, she just played a bunch of trash. Okay, well, that's good. Okay. Well, let's actually, I could play this and the Acolyte, or I could just play the Sea Giant. The Bear is annoying. It's stopping me from hero ability imping the Panda, which sucks. Well, let's do this.
Speak to me.
And sure, we'll just pass the turn. So I've got 2 really big cards back here. I cannot play them both in the same turn, sadly, but I might be very okay in this game. Oh, geez, well, we both have our Giants. I've got 2 Polymorphs. I could definitely draw one. It's not impossible. Look at that. Alright, that was quite fortuitous. This bear is a real problem, but, yeah. What we'll do here is Polymorph that. Do I want to play Mana Worm this turn? Mana Worm, Polymorph this? Yeah, I think I do, actually. Kill the bear. Okay, I'd say I'm very far ahead now. I've got a huge board. My opponent would need very good cards. Rogues could definitely have them. I mean, like, Assassinate would be pretty good. But, uh-oh. The Pimp. That's what I call this card. Ah, okay, so she had the Pimp, but no spells just yet. So basically, there's a Flame Strike in here that's getting closer and closer to being drawn, which is nice. She keeps killing off my weak creatures, but she's got to be a little careful here. This is 15 damage. I think that's the game. Oh, so I was just going to win no matter what. Yeah. Alright, that was a good game. Yeah, my opponent couldn't have killed this stuff even if she wanted to. So my Giant saves the day. Gotta say, I think that Sea Giant was better than Pyroblast again. Because it killed a bear, then it attacked. Pyroblast could have just dealt 10 damage, and it would have cost more mana. I mean, I would have played differently, obviously, if it were a Pyroblast. I would have played my Frost Elemental and might have been able to win anyway, but that was a good game. I did misplay the Betrayal. So the situation was this. I had 2 creatures. I had 3 creatures on the board. All the creatures had enough power that any one of them would kill both of the other two. But in that case, you should still think about Betrayal and put the Cult Master in the middle so that your opponent either casts Betrayal on the Cult Master and kills your other two, then you draw 2 cards, or she casts Betrayal on one of the other two and then kills the Cult Master. But the way that it happened was my opponent got to kill the Cult Master and another creature, so I definitely misplayed. JSL 58. This is all going to get mulliganed, except for the Flesh-Eating Ghoul. Against a Rogue, I'm not going to keep the Owl, so you'll notice I kept the Owl against a Priest. Rogues, what do they have early on that you're going to want to silence? I can't think of much. So I'm going to send that Owl back, keep it for the late game. It also dies against the Rogue's Dagger super easily, so I don't really particularly want to keep it. Alright, here it's very good to be second. Number 1, I'm up against a Rogue, and number 2, I have a Mana Worm, and I have a coin, so the coin will activate the Mana Worm. And number 3, it's actually really cool, I get to coin and play a 3-drop, I have no 2-drop, so it's really, really good that I went second this turn. Excuse me, this game. Alright, well we have an aggressive 3-drop, and a more control-y, bide your time 3-drop. Let's see what my opponent has to say for herself.
So many options.
I doubt it. I'm just going to dagger up and swing at my face. Alright, we got removal. Well, we're definitely going to coin. I think I'm going to coin out the Flesh-Eating Ghoul here. I mean, this guy is tempting, but at 3 mana, there's lots of stuff that will just kill the Acolyte, so we'll hang on to him and try to see if we can grow the Flesh-Eating Ghoul a little bit. Next turn for 3 mana, I'm playing the Acolyte anyway, so it's, I mean, barring some kind of other top deck. So it seems fine. Polymorphs, both good and bad. I mean, they're good because they deal with anything, but early in the game, you don't really want to spend a 4 mana removal spell. That's like your entire turn. So unless you're already ahead from your previous turns, it's usually not good to do that. Like, I find that sometimes people get really frustrated, like, oh, this creature is really good, but every time I play it, you know, it just gets killed. And it's like, well, that might not necessarily be a bad thing. If your opponent is spending his or her entire turn just to kill one of your plays, then that's great. You lost a card, they lost a card, and you get to move on with your life. Alright, so my opponent's going to backstab and kill the Flesh-Eating Ghoul. That did not cost her any mana. And she's going to play the SI Agent against my Mana Worm. That does not kill the Mana Worm, however. Well, unfortunately, the Mana Worm did not grow enough to be able to kill this SI Agent, so this 3/3 body is actually really good. I could play a Flesh-Eating Ghoul, but it'll just die. So I'm going to take a more conservative play. I'm just going to do this. Clearing the board. So I would say that my opponent won the opening. Why? Because we both have 5 cards, but she's the first up to play onto the empty board. So she definitely has the edge. But I feel like she would have had an even bigger edge if I had left her with a board position where she could just kill one of my creatures for nothing. Well, my opponent, through no fault of her own, has given up her advantage because she had the chance right there to play something and she did essentially nothing. Now, I could play the Panda. The advantage of playing the Panda is that, first of all, it hits harder than the Water Elemental, and second of all, if I were to play the Water Elemental, I can't play the Panda afterwards. But I'm actually going to play the Water Elemental, and the reason for that is it's sturdier, which I think is good. And the other reason, if I start hitting the Rogue, it stops her from using her hero abilities, Dagger, or any Assassin's Blades she might pick up. So now, I would be content, for example, just to like polymorph a thing that my opponent plays and swing at her face, and just try to keep her from using the Dagger that she's got. And if she, last turn she did nothing. If she does nothing again this turn, then she's going to get in real serious trouble, because I can like play the Acolyte, swing, hero ability, and do good stuff. Ah, she's got the Tiger. Well, the Tiger is actually a really great answer for my opponent because I can't deal with it right now. It's obviously untouchable to the Polymorph. However, what I can do is hit her, so at least she's going to have to work to kill this Elemental. She's going to need to buff this Tiger a little bit in order to actually get the kill. And I'm going to play the Gurubashi Berserker because this uses up all of my mana. And hope that my opponent doesn't have any Stampeding Kodos. If she does, she might actually win the game because of that. So Stampeding Kodo is the 3/5 beast that costs 5 mana, and you destroy a creature with power 2 or less. So normally, stuff with power 2 or less isn't that great, but Gurubashi Berserker is a 5. It's a 5 mana creature. Alright, well, there's the Sap. Interesting choice on the Gurubashi rather than the Elemental. So she just goes a Stone Cold a card down, but she gets tempo for it. And does she have like a Fan of Knives or a Shiv? She has another SI agent. Well, in a way that's better and worse. So it's better in that she doesn't draw a card, but it's worse in that she puts a body on the board. So I'd say that my opponent actually has amazingly enough caught back up, because she managed to like deal with my stuff and put stuff onto the board. Well, I'm gonna play the Berserker, and the reason for that is it just holds up to what she has, and I really want to put a kibosh on her doing more things. God, oh my God, she actually has a Stampeding Kodo. I'm sorry, I'm about to say a bad word. Fucker. That is gonna be the game. I don't think I can catch up from that. She now has absolutely dominating board position. I mean, I have to get Flame Strike is basically what it boils down to. So there's only one of those in the deck. And that's not it. Well, what we're going to do here is we're just going to, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and kill her stuff. I'm going to kill the thing that deals the most damage. This is terrible, though. I mean, I'm not putting anything onto the board. I still haven't even cleared out her board. And she has 8 mana to put all the stuff on the board that she wants. Oh my God. Stampeding Kodo strikes again. I could have played any other creature down, but I chose to play the Kodo. And I suffered for it. So even after I polymorph this, I'm still horribly, horribly, horribly behind. I absolutely need to get Flame Strike, or it's just going to be totally over. That is not Flame Strike. So we're going to polymorph that. And I don't even know. I guess we'll play this creature. It might draw some fire from my opponent. Oh my God. This game was idiotic. I had it, but rogues, this is part of why I like rogues. They can come back. I have to give my opponent props for drafting a sap. That's not a card I usually take. But it was critical there, because it basically stole a turn from me. So even though she went to card down, the tempo was totally worth it. So yeah, one of my 18 cards is Flame Strike. The odds of drawing it before I lose are pretty much nothing. She's going to try to burn me out here with the Deadly Poison there. She actually has 2 Deadly Poisons. Oh, jeez. Well, this is bad. Fan of Knives to draw a card. She should probably do that first.
Enter the shadows.
Alright, that's pretty cute. It's actually the best use of Master of Disguise I've ever seen. That is not Flame Strike. I have 1 chance to draw it.
I hope you like my invention.
And that is not Flame Strike. It's a taunt, but she attacks with 4/4. Yeah. Well played.
Well played.
And that was idiotic. Ugh. What a game. So, obviously I could have been okay if I just hadn't played the Gurubashi Berserker. Because if I'd played, say, like the Panda, then the Kodo... the Panda would have killed the Kodo, and I could have cleared out the board before all sorts of disaster struck. If I had drawn Flame Strike at any point, I also, well, any point earlier than like the last turn. Actually, even if Flame Strike wouldn't have saved me, I was at 4 health, she had a 5/1 dagger. So yeah, I was dead there, but if I had drawn Flame Strike earlier, I could have won as well. Man, it was that tournament I had the Water Elemental on an empty board. She played the Tiger, I played the Berserker, she sapped it, played more stuff. And the SI Agent was actually really clutch, too, because it let her kill my stuff while putting creatures on the board. Man, that was really impressive, I gotta say. That was really impressive by my opponent, because she basically skipped her 4th turn. She did absolutely nothing on turn 4. I had the total initiative, the ideal creature against rogues, the Water Elemental, and she still came back and won the game. Load of baloney nuts. Load of what kind of nuts, you might ask? Baloney nuts. This is a very slow start. Oh man, this is already looking bad. Oh my God, am I really gonna lose this game? Am I really gonna poop out at 6 wins? We're gonna coin this out because we need to put something on the board. Shadow Word Pain kills Imp Masters, of course, which is very, very sad. Next turn, I might not have anything better to do than Spellbender. We'll see. We'll see. Ah, Power Word Shield. That's very cute. Did I mulligan my owl? Uh-oh. I think I did. I think I actually mulliganed my owl. I really should not have done that. Oops. Flash Eating Ghoul. Well, that's nice to see. So it dies to the ooze here, but whatever. Gotta do what you gotta do. So he either has to spend half of his turn healing this ooze to prevent it from dying to my imps and hero ability, or he needs to actually play a real thing. He chooses to play something real, which I do not blame him for. I think I am actually going to go ahead and ping off that ooze. I can't do anything else with my turn, unfortunately. But that's okay. I've got a pretty good card coming up, the Ventricle Mercenary. And he can't kill both my imps just yet, so this should be alright. Well, if he has like Shadow Word Death or whatever, he'll be in very, very good shape. But I felt like it was worth it to get rid of that creature versus put something on the board that was just going to die anyway.
Don't mess with Tusker.
Alright, my opponent's going to swarm up here. And then preserve the health on Ascension, which is very reasonable to do. Let's see if he has removal for my 7/6. He could trade his whole board for it. And it looks like he's actually going to do that. Wow. Well, I'm happy with that. So my 5 mana card traded everything he had. Why did I... Oh my god. I'm pretty sure I mulliganed an owl after talking about how you should not mulligan the owls against priests. And anyway, this is a demonstration, folks, of why you don't want to mulligan owls against priests. Because this would be a really good thing to silence. It would be a 0/5. So that like moment of brain fart carelessness could actually cost me this game. Indeed. So I could polymorph it, of course. And play a mana worm, polymorph it. Kill it with the imp. Seems a bit weak. Especially if you play something scarier later on. I could play Cult Master. Get it down to be... Hit it with the imp, draw a card. Hit it, ping it with my hero ability down to 3, but then he could heal it up back to 5, kill the Cult Master, and live. Although then he would be at 1 health. Aha. And then I could kill it. That's an option. I could also play the Mana Worm, Spell Bender. Leaves me with 2 mana. Then ping this down to 4. That doesn't seem very good. You know, I think we'll just play the Water Elemental, actually. So, the Water Elemental survives against the Lightspawn. So, that's what I'm going to do. Now, if my opponent plays a Temple Enforcer, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble, because that's the 6/6 that gives a creature plus 3 health. This will be a 7/7. Kill my Water Elemental. Holy Nova. Also good. Let's my opponent kill my Water Elemental. In high style. Frostbolt. I could kill this thing with Frostbolt and hero ability, leaving me with 3 mana to play Mana Worm? Or Spellbender, I suppose. Or I could just play this guy. Let's play this guy. This seems fine. So basically, if my opponent has a Temple Enforcer and buffs this guy to be really huge, like a 7/7 or even higher, I want something I can just take it out. Ah, my opponent's going to play the Northshire Cleric, draw a card. Ugh. Play Mind Games. Okay, put a random minion from your opponent's deck on the board. What are you going to get? Flesh Eating Ghoul. Well, could have been worse. That is for sure. It could have been worse. Okay. Well, here, this guy, I could kill it and let the Ravenholt live, actually, with the hero ability down to 4/4 and then kill it off. But I think what is more important for me is to kill off this Northshire Cleric and the Flesh Eating Ghoul. So the way that I want to do that is maybe the Novice Engineer. Mana Worm, Novice Engineer, Frostbolt. That's 5 mana. I still have 3 left. I can play Spellbender. That seems good. I will do this. Actually, wait. Draw cards first. Always, kids, always draw cards first. Arcane Explosion, that might actually change my plan. Hang on. So if I Arcane Explosion, everything goes down to 2 health. What does that really change? Well, this actually wouldn't hit as hard. That seems dumb. Alright, we're just going to play Mana Worm.
Problem solved.
Hit that thing. Frostbolt that thing. And you know, I'm going to play Spellbender here. That is a rather good guard against mind control. So if my opponent does have a mind control here, a lot of times people will think, well, okay, I don't know about people. I think when a mage is a secret, I always think like that it's always Vaporize or Ice Barrier, because those seem to be the most common. So people don't really think about... I don't think about Counterspell or Spellbender that much. Is this thing able to attack? Ah, it is. Interesting. So my opponent spent 4 mana and wasted a premier spell to achieve nothing. That's good. I will accept that. That's okay. Maybe I have to reverse my opinion on Spellbender. It's been really great. Ah, Holy Nova. So my opponent spent his entire turn clearing everything out. I have an extra card and I'm first to play, so the game's not over, but I have the advantage for sure. Let's just put creatures on. Seems good. I wonder if my opponent had mind control and actually did play around Spellbender, choosing to use Shadow Madness instead. What did he try to Shadow Madness? My Mana Worm? What was he going to do with that? I don't know what he was going to do with it. Maybe he was just playing around Spellbender. Mind control, okay. Bah. Well, he gets the card back at this point. Gurubashi Berserker, very good here. I could polymorph this thing, or I could ping my Gurubashi and make it a 5/6. So I could take this guy out. Or I could ping it. Or I could play the Cult Master. Now, the Cult Master dies to the Panda, but keeps the Gurubashi Berserker alive. Well, you know what I'm going to do, though? I'm actually going to... I don't want to ping this thing, because then like a Shattered Sun Cleric would let them trade. Although a Dark Iron Dwarf currently lets the Panda kill my Gurubashi and live to tell about it. You know what? Let's actually play the Cult Master here. It's extremely unlikely I'm ever going to get to... Jesus Christ, what an asshole. Sorry. The Cult Master, it's very unlikely I'm going to be able to use it to draw cards ever in this game, given the current state. So I'm just willing to let my opponent trade his Panda for it. Let me keep my Panda, or my Berserker alive. If that is a Stampeding Kodo, I am going to flip a bitch. Ah, War Golem. And that thing. Well, this is actually a really good turn for me now. Because I get to polymorph. Giant. Well, I don't really want that 7/7 lying around. So I'm 1 mana short of playing polymorph and the giant. Such is life. So we're going to just polymorph this thing. And I could actually play Arcane Explosion to kill the sheep and that at the same time. With the hero ability, of course. Or I could just... Let me just do this. I'm going to do this to charge up my guy, and then we're going to kill the sheep like that and pass the turn. So I have an advantage here. We both have 3 cards. I have 3, but one of mine's on the board. But if what he has can deal with this efficiently and he can put something else on the board also, then he'll be fine. Ah, well, that's a pretty decent card. Jesus. Man, those are both pretty good cards. Polymorph. Look at you. Again, I have the same problem. I can't polymorph and play my giant. Well, let's think about this. I can polymorph 1, Arcane Explosion, pop Divine Shield, kill the sheep. Yeah, that seems really good. So I'll polymorph this. Arcane Explosion. Kill that. My opponent is really at 28 health. Really? Okay. Well, this thing is very fragile. Like any little thing will tip it over. But, you know, he's going to have to spend a card to kill it. So that's good. The best thing he can have is one of those comes into play, deals damage cards, because those could actually put a creature on the board and kill it. He does not have those. That is fortunate for me. It's actually going to heal this guy up. So what's more dangerous? The 4 thing that... the 4 power creature that can go up to 7 health, or the 5 power creature that can get a lot of power if my opponent has health buffs. I think this is less dangerous because this guy's power is capped, barring a inner fire. Whereas this thing could get scary. So we're gonna play our 8/8, and I am just gonna take this off before anything else happens. And just in case of inner fire, I will actually ping that thing. Reason being, I don't want. Well, I want to keep this health down in case I draw Flame Strike later, and I don't want this to get out of control with Inner Fire. Wow, that is very lucky for me, so my opponent needs good top decks to catch up. Given that my 2 cards clearly own his 2 cards, he, however, did not top deck anything good, so I'm a little bit ahead, and I'm a little bit more ahead now. That's good. We'll go ahead and play the taunt. Kill his creature, kill his creature. Do I want to play this thing? I do. Holy Nova kills it, but I don't really care. It doesn't kill either of the other 2 cards. If he has a Holy Nova, this is his card, a Holy Nova, I'm thrilled. Because this guy dies, these 2 live, and I swing for 13 damage. So, he needs something extremely good now to get back in the game. Harvest Golem. Well, that's not really going to do it, I'm afraid. So I'm going to Well, I could silence it, actually. I'm gonna silence that thing. Yeah. Wait a minute, hang on a minute. What's the point of silencing that? I could, if I'm killing it anyway, and I've got this hero ability, the silence doesn't really gain me much. All right. Well, if I don't want to hit with my Booty Bay, because if I do, it goes down to 2 health. Then a Holy Nova is quite impactful. So we'll just throw that thing away. Use the OP Mage hero ability to finish off the thing and swing for lots of damage. Gonna hang on to the Owl here in case of Sunwalker number 2. Or any crazy legendary or something that needs to get dealt with. I hate to keep harping on this, but this is way better than Pyroblast. If this had been a Pyroblast, I might just very well be screwed right now. This giant really helped me out a ton. Not really any harm in playing this whatsoever. Combo Freezer. The freezer of combos. Combos everywhere tremble in fear when Combo Freezer comes by. For as we all know, combos only like warm temperatures. My opponent has a card. It appears to be targetable at himself. It might be like a Holy Fire, and he's trying to kill himself. Which is actually something I've tried before. You apparently gain the life and take the damage simultaneously. So you do not kill yourself. Ah, mind control. Aha, okay. Well, that's not going to help my opponent, unfortunately. Obviously, had he mind controlled my giant, these guys would have killed him. The Booty Bay Bodyguard kills the Senjin. That is like the one thing that is good about that mediocre card. And then I win with the Sea Giant. Alright, that was a good game. And yeah, well, lesson learned. In this particular deck, maybe not, that's not the case all the time, but in this particular deck, the Sea Giant is a better epic than a Pyroblast. Which makes me wonder if the Sea Giant isn't going to get nerfed someday. I've always felt like that giant was better than the other 2 epic giants in the series. For one thing, he is the only one that has a mana cost that's actually playable, even when the helping condition isn't met. He's 10 mana, -1 per creature on the board. So in the worst case, you can spend your whole turn on 10 mana and play him. And having creatures on the board is not that hard. I mean, that's what people do in Hearthstone, is they put creatures onto the board. The other 2 giants are harder to play. Like both their mana costs are higher and their conditions are harder to have. So I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, we're going to ship back the Polymorph. That is late game removal. We'll ship back the Assassin. Obviously, he is late game as well. My endgame creatures really helped me in that last game too, but then again, so did my double Polymorph that I both drew, because those were really helpful. And Arcane Explosion really carried its weight too, popping off those Divine Shields. Oh boy. Well, let's think. At the moment, this thing's not terrible. I mean, it can't damage itself, so it can't die. If I coin out the Pyromancer, I'm threatening to kill it. And then I lose the potential for the coin to trigger the Pyromancer and deal 1 damage to all minions. Do I need it to deal damage to all minions? Not really. Let's just coin this thing out. And I'm trying to, I'm trying to get card advantage. I'm trying to kill off this Northstrike Cleric and live to tell about it. If my opponent has Shadow Word Pain for the Pyromancer, I will then Frostbolt the Northstrike Cleric and call it a day. Ah, he's going to do that. You have got to be kidding me. The odds of that are so small, it hurts. Jesus Christ. Well, this is the more threatening creature. So we're going to kill it. That is a load of donkey dongs. I don't even care if I lose this game. I mean, that's what you get for playing the Mad Bomber. Sometimes it does great things, and sometimes it does terrible things. But, that we just happened to be present when my opponent got the great thing from the Mad Bomber. And that's probably going to be the game. I mean, putting the 3-2 on the board for 2 mana and killing off my 2-drop is awful. I'm really climbing back up a hill here. Alright, so that is a pretty good drop. I'm 1 mana away from playing the Fen Creeper, which is really heartbreaking, because that's what I'd like to be able to play here. We'll just play Flesh-Eating Ghoul. And let's kill the Mad Bomber. The reason for that is, of course, that the Fen Creeper technically does not kill the Flesh-Eating Ghoul without some help. Next turn I can play a Fen Creeper and actually start to protect this ghoul, but this turn the ghoul is a little bit vulnerable. Any sort of a damage buff would allow my opponent to kill the ghoul with just the Hunter. And of course, the 2 of them together can just kill the ghoul outright.
I have no time for
wow. That is a card to be remembered. Well, we actually have to play around Sylvanas. This is a legendary, so if you haven't seen her before, Death Threat will take control of an enemy minion. So once it dies, you steal one of your opponent's creatures. So basically, I have a couple of options. One, I can polymorph it, of course. That is an option. Another option is actually to use the hero ability to ping off the boar. The Flesh-Eating Ghoul will grow to be 5/3. I could then kill Sylvanas. Unfortunately, right now I have then 3 mana left, and that's not able to do anything. So I could play the Fen Creeper to hold the fort here. The Sylvanas does not kill the Fen Creeper, nor does it die to the Fen Creeper. But the problem is, the more creatures I put on the board, the more likely it becomes that the Sylvanas will actually get to steal a creature of mine upon dying. However, I do have this owl here, so I can turn it into a regular old 5/5. Or I can polymorph it. God, I hate that I don't have anything to do for 3 mana other than play this thing, which just dies to the hunter.
What to do?
Alright, I'm gonna trust my instincts. I'm gonna play the Fang Creeper. I'm gonna kill the biggest creature that I can kill. And next turn, well, we'll see what happens on my opponent's turn here. Lots of things could stop this Fen Creeper from doing his job of protecting my ghoul. But next turn, perhaps we will just silence this and then either ignore it or trade. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I could also polymorph it if I have nothing to do with the extra mana. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have 6 mana, but if I play this and have 4 mana left over to do nothing, then I might as well just... Mass Dispel. Wow, that's a pretty good card. Yeah. Alright, so that is at least most of my opponent's turn. Okay, does she have anything else? So my opponent basically spent 4 mana to draw a card and kill one of my minions. I'm okay with that. This plus that is 7. I'm at 6. Ugh. I can't get this down. I'm a little far away from that. Well, is it worth playing this thingamadude? Yeah, I think so. So Sylvanas still can't die at the moment. Unless my opponent does something wacky, like play Dark Iron Dwarf, buff this, throw Sylvanas into it, steal my Gorba. I don't know why he would do that. So, wait, am I really at 9 health? Wait, when did this happen? Oh my god. How am I at 9 health? I guess this 5/5 just hit me a buttload of times. Ah, crap. Well, this is actually terrible. I might just lose the game because I wasn't paying attention to my health. I should have totally polymorphed this out of respect for my health. Well, the problem is that I have Flame Strike, but neither of these things actually dies to the Flame Strike. And even if I do kill this, my opponent steals a creature, so I really have to polymorph it. And I could Arcane Explosion to deal the damage to the tiger, but my opponent's a priest and could just heal up. What the hell? I'm sorry folks, I was just not looking at my health at all that game. I don't know where or how my opponent did so much. I guess those early creatures maybe did a lot. Now my opponent actually is within burning distance here. Ugh, this sucks. I need 9 mana to play Flame Strike and Arcane Explosion. Unfortunately, I can play Flame Strike, and then I cannot kill both of these creatures. I can kill one, but not the other. That's the game. Oh, jeez. I should have played the Polymorph a turn earlier for the Sylvanas. And because I didn't, you know what it was? I waited too long to silence. Like, oh, I got the silence in my back pocket. But then I just let Sylvanas hit me a bunch of times. I mean, that is a 5/5. So that was a problem. That Mass Dispel ended up being better than I thought, because it took off my Fen Creeper's taunt, so it allowed Sylvanas to hit me like 4 times and deal 20 damage. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I just messed up. I should have just polymorphed it, called it a day, and tried to win from there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, do please like and or subscribe. And if you just can't get enough of Papa Boris, let us commence Papa Boris's Happy Fun Time Bonus Hour. 7-win arenas are pretty predictable. You usually get like somewhere between, well, you always get between 150 and 200. I don't think I've ever gotten more. So here we got 155. That is alright. Let's see what we got for our pack. Okay, come on. You can make it, game. Lava Burst is good, but I'm pretty sure I already have my fill of Lava Bursts. Even though the rare didn't show up there, I'm pretty sure I have, like, golden ones. Yeah, I have 2 regulars and 2 goldens. Let's go ahead and disenchant these. I have been using a lot of dusts, trying to make my constructed videos. So that was a couple hundred dust we got there. That's pretty good. And let's take a sneak peek at our next arena. Alright, we're going to be doing, well, probably not Mage. Rogue or Hunter, man, this is all very recent stuff, so we're going to be doing something recent no matter what. Probably the Rogue. I'm not a big fan of the Hunter, so we'll probably try Rogue again and see what we can do. Alright, folks, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Till then.